Welcome to the Gateway Board of School Directors regular board meeting, Tuesday, June 20th, 2017. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I apologize for the late start. We have an executive session discussing personnel issues. Bonnie, could we have a roll call, please?
Mrs. Byrne.
Present.
Mrs. Cerrucci.
Here.
Mr. Lapsevich.
Present.
Mr. Nola.
Here.
Mr. O'Donnell.
Here.
Mr. Ritter. Mr. Ritter.
John?
Yes, I'm here.
Mr. Stubenbort.
Here.
Mrs. Warning.
Here.
Mr. Williams.
Here. Bonnie, we already signed up for comments from residents on agenda items.
No, no one has signed up.
Is there anybody in the audience that wishes to speak to us on agenda items? Seeing none. Section A, minutes of previously held meetings. Resolved that the Gateway Board of School Directors approves the minutes of the following previously held meetings: from the study session meeting, May 2nd, Budget and Finance Committee meeting, May 18th, regular board meeting, May 23rd, and curriculum meeting, May 25th.
So moved. Second.
Moved by Mr. Nola, second by Mr. Stubenbort. Questions, comments? Seeing none, can we have a roll call, Bon?
Mrs. Cerrucci.
Aye.
Mr. Lapsevich.
Aye.
Mr. Nola.
Aye.
Mr. O'Donnell.
Aye.
Mr. Ritter.
John Scale, what are we voting on?
The minutes of the previous meeting.
Aye.
Mr. Stubenbort.
Aye.
Mrs. Warning.
Aye.
Mr. Williams.
Aye.
Mrs. Byrne.
Aye.
Motion carries. Section B, bills. Mr. Schott.
Thank you, Mr. Williams. Section B, resolved that the Gateway Board of School Directors approves sections B1, list of bills, B2, monthly financial statements, and B3, budget transfers, as listed in Section B of the Tuesday, June 20th, 2017 regular board meeting.
So moved.
Second. Moved by Mr. Stubenbort, second by Mr. Nola. Question, comments? Seeing none, can we have a roll call vote?
Mr. Lapsevich.
Aye.
Mr. Nola.
Aye.
Mr. O'Donnell.
Aye.
Mr. Ritter.
Aye.
Mr. Stubenbort.
Aye.
Mrs. Warning.
Aye.
Mr. Williams.
Aye.
Mrs. Byrne.
Aye.
Mrs. Cerrucci.
Aye.
Motion carries. Section C, previously tabled items. Chad, do we have yours yet, or?
No, that's under board resolution.
Okay. Section D, personnel agenda. Ms. Krupp.
Thank you, Mr. Williams. Resolved that the Gateway Board of School Directors accepts and approves the personnel agenda items 1 through 11 as listed in Section D for the regular board meeting of Tuesday, June 20th, 2017. We have listed 1 resignation, a leave of absence, 5 transfers per the collective bargaining agreements, an additional name to add for extended school year teachers, and then 2 additional names added for paraprofessionals. Under Section 5, it's a reorganization title change for the Director of Special Education to the Director of Pupil Services position, appointment of the Director of Pupil Services, a salary adjustment for a payroll benefits officer, an acting coaching fellowship position. Under Section 9, we have supplemental contracts resignation. You will note that there are several more resignations on this than the last time, and the reason for that being is due to one of the resignations of the football coaches. It restructured the organization, so we had to resign them and reappoint them in the correct positions, which was reflected in under the issuance. We have volunteers. And under Section 11, there is resolved that the Gateway Board of School Directors accepts and approves the re-furlough, furlough, non-renewal, and transfers of the professional teaching staff for 17-18 school years. The names of the individuals who will be furloughed at this time is Dana Bosilic-Boychek, reading teacher, Nicole Dunsmore, physical education teacher, Robert Finkel, physical education teacher, Alexis Hartman, that's an elementary teacher, I apologize for that, Eliza McMahon, elementary teacher, Christy Monchelovich, science teacher, Jason Palermo, technology education, Carly Preffer, elementary teacher, Kelly Sweeney, reading teacher, and Brittany Vasco, elementary teacher.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Mr. Nola, second by Mr. Stubenport. Questions, comments? Mr. Nola.
May I have Mr. Short or whomever explain this last section just a little bit?
The furloughs
Yeah.
and transfer of professional staff.
Yeah, will you?
I will try to articulate this as best we could because I did want to clear up information within the newspaper today, which indicated in the headline that Gateway would be furloughing 10 staff members. And that was inaccurately portrayed within that article. Mrs. Crump did have an opportunity, and I do know Mr. Stubenboard also had talked to the reporter, and it was clearly articulated to that reporter that we had a number of positions that we were capturing through attrition, either through retirement and or resignations. Those people would not be replaced. However, due to their positions, we had to then have transfers occur within the bargaining unit. The GEA, the union for the Gateway Education Association, was very much aware of what was going on and very much supported the actions of how those transfers would occur. So the net effect would not, there would not be any teacher that would be left without a position entering the 17-18 school year. So when I say that was inaccurately portrayed, I did want to get that message out to everyone, that once the budget is passed tonight, then the GEA would meet with Mrs. Crump and they would go through the official, if you
We
want
have
to
a
call
meeting
it,
scheduled June 27th.
checkerboarding effect to determine those individuals and where they would end up at.
But good.
I just wanted to verify one thing as well, that the GA controls the bidding process. So we actually received an email from a student, at least several of us did, about one person no longer being in a position. I want everyone to know that the school board has no control over that, administrators actually have no control over that. So that's all part of their collective bargaining agreement, and they are allowed to bounce, or as they say, bid amongst. So it's really a checkerboard effect with multiple teachers moving, multiple positions. We have no say over that, no control over that. And then I just
Providing
wanted
the
to,
certifications do align with
Correct.
the positions that are open and in the situation that would occur.
Right, and some, I did want to state that most of these teachers will be back in some
Absolutely,
capacity,
yes.
no matter what.
We have several
Almost all of
positions.
them, actually, because we
Yes.
actually have people on sabbaticals and things that, so
Correct.
that all of these people will be working here.
Yes.
I just want that stated as well.
and this has occurred over the last 3 to 4 years, and that's really one of the ways we've gotten to financial security, is not continuing to add on. So as our, the numbers actually were very accurate, the
Yes, the
decrease in
enrollment.
enrollment. So with a 25% decrease in enrollment, obviously, I guess if you don't mind, just I'll dive into how the process works. So the building administrators meet with our central administration staff, so our assistant superintendents or superintendents.
And Mr. Stubenboard actually portrayed it as a very complex staffing analysis. And when I call that an analysis, we're really projecting and looking at enrollment horizontally over the course of a 12-year period. And we do know that there's fluctuations with move in and move out, but you're able to see a trend in enrollment. And in anticipation of that, you also have a scheduling system in place that allows our students to choose their courses that they would like to have. Typically, that process begins in February and March. In April and May, we hold our staffing meetings. From those staffing meetings, we are very clear and concise with how students are matched up with courses to ensure that our teachers are fully maximized and fully utilized within our system. We are very unique here at Gateway in our contract with the teachers that we have really a two-tiered system. Teachers who were hired after the year 2013 are required to teach 6 sections. Teachers hired before, did I say 2013? No, 2003. Hired before 2003 teach 5 sections. So to manage that, it's a very fluid and complex scheduling system. But I cannot tell you how important it is administratively and the board collectively over the last 10 years that if we see an opportunity where we have a retirement or a person that's resigning, if you're able to capture that position based on PD requirements of declining enrollment, it's important to do so. And when you do that over 10 years, and please keep in mind, and the public needs to know this, and I know our GEA knows this, we have not cut programming. We have maintained our exemplar programming, you know, from world languages, art, music, you name it, we still have it. But it's the collective work of the administration in ensuring that our teachers are maximized and our kids are afforded the best education possible. And when you look at our balanced budget tonight that we are presenting for a vote, and there was an article in the Pittsburgh Tribune Review today speaking of districts throughout the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania almost are being forced into raising taxes, borrowing from fund balance, just to maintain, and a lot of districts are cutting programs. And we're maintaining that here at Gateway. So, just as Mr. Studenborg said, this is just not a 1 or 2 year endeavor. This has been a collective 10-year process that we have made to ensure that we're continuing to offer an excellent curriculum for our students here in the Gateway School District.
And if I could we apply that conversation to the elimination of the professional staff positions tonight? And that would be the physical education teacher, 1.5, 2 reading teachers, and 1 science teacher from Gateway Middle School.
Yes.
Now, can we be assured that the class sizes will remain small at Gateway Middle School, even though we're eliminating these positions?
Yes, we have analyzed those numbers. I did share those numbers, not next year's numbers, but previous numbers with the school board member that's on speakerphone right now, and she can attest to that. And in speaking with Mr. Telly, and I do know that Dr. Chakey has had conversations with him, we feel very, very comfortable that those numbers are going to be favorable. So, and we will update the board with, if you want to say a master schedule, just to show the numbers.
And by favorable, do you mean comparable to this year?
Comparable to this year. However, some of those numbers were, I would say, on the low side. Some with 10, 12, 13, 14. Optimal is anywhere between 20 and 25.
Thank you for clarifying.
Thanks.
Bill, just on that last issue, so we're eliminating the following staff positions. Will those teachers be
Relocated into a different building
Okay.
in the same content area.
Okay.
In August, you'll see a motion that recalls them back into their new positions that they bid upon on this 27th.
Okay, thanks. What's the likelihood of these classroom sizes? Because I know we looked at this at one of the budget meetings. There was some
Yes.
discussion and a follow-up to that. And some of them were 13, 14, 15. They were pretty,
Right.
and maybe even some of them had a couple of teachers in them, if I'm correct.
There was 1 or 2 classes that did exceed, we'll say 30 or 31,
But there were,
but they were an honors course
right,
specific to that period of instruction. So there
Right.
were maybe 2 classes.
and there were several instructors in there at that level.
In the STEAM offerings.
Yeah, okay.
Correct, Dennis, yes.
So is there a likelihood that these classes at Gateway Middle, do you think they're going to hit that 25 mark? That's,
We feel comfortable that the average will be around 25. It fluctuates because in creating a master schedule, depending upon the number of sections, determines where the kids fall.
okay, so if we wanted to keep it, say, at 20, then we would have to add a position?
if you wanted to
The
keep it
classroom
at
size is at
20.
around 20.
We've never had 20. It's
Yeah,
around.
that would require probably another staff member.
So right now, they're ranging from 13 to,
It could be 13 to 27, 28. But, I've always maintained that once we hit that number of 30, I ask the principals, central office, or assistant superintendents to go back into the master schedule. You get creative. You can move certain sections around.
okay,
Yeah.
all right. Thanks.
Any other questions or comments?
Can we have individual on each section as far as the vote?
On all of them, or just do you want to pull one up?
Let's do just
You want a separate vote on
the
which sections maybe that
supplemental,
matter?
just supplemental.
Supplementals?
Before we go any, pardon me?
4B.
So you want
4B,
4B to be separate.
correct. As far as the resignations for the football coaches, I'm just bringing it up. The salary, the total price for the coaches that they're bringing in is exactly as what resigned. So they just filled a different name.
It all balanced out to the
Correct.
total amount that they're allotted, yes.
Correct.
Bill? Thank you.
She wants to vote on everything except
4B.
4B.
No, it's not 4B, it's
9B.
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 That would be the supplemental.
Correct.
I have another question, Mr. Short, related to number 5 and 6. I mean, obviously, we have a director of pupil services now. Could you explain a little bit about why we are, or why administration feels that reorganization is important?
Okay, currently, right now, we do not have the position of Director of Pupil Personnel Services. That is a PDE certification currently within our operational structure. We have a Director of Special Education, a Supervisor of Special Education, a school psychologist, and really the administrative assistant within that department. This position, which Gateway has had in previous years, requires a PDE certification that really broadens the oversight of the department, meaning that we're able to ensure that our PIMS coordinator, and for the public, PIMS is a Pennsylvania Information Management System. It really is a position of its own. We have one individual, Mr. Paul Hoffman, who really runs from the enrollment standpoint, all the individual student identification numbers goes into PIMS. From there, you have to ensure that the special education students are recognized, gifted students are recognized, transportation, everything that requires reimbursement from the state. And I see Mr. Schott and Mrs. Crump shaking their head. It is a critical component of the operation. Typically, in all school districts, you will see that position under the auspice of the Director of Pupil Services. So this is a standard position which Mrs. Bunkard has received, not only that certification, but also her superintendent certification. So this allows us to pull those specific duties of PIMS for an oversight level into central office, as well as nursing, counseling, and
Pediatric services and homeschool business.
homeschool business.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions or comments? Okay, we will be voting on everything except 9B. We'll have a roll call vote, everything except 9B.
Just hold 1 second, so we'll just make sure we check that, okay?
Mary Beth and John, did you hear that?
Yes.
John?
He has to unmute.
Yes, John heard.
Okay, everything except 9B, this roll call vote.
Ready?
Ready?
Mr. Nola.
Aye.
Mr. O'Donnell.
Aye.
Mr. Ritter.
Aye.
Mr. Stubenboard.
Aye.
Mrs. Warning.
Aye.
Mr. Williams.
Aye.
Mrs. Byrne.
Aye.
Mrs. Cerucci.
Aye.
Mr. Lapsevich?
Aye.
Motion carries. Now we'll be voting on 9B. Approve the issuance of supplemental contracts to the following individuals.
I just have one quick,
Motion is second.
so moved.
Second.
Moved by Mr. Stubenford, second by Mr. Nola.
On the girls' junior high basketball, assistant and head coach, can we have Randy look into if we're going to have two separate teams or one team, and decide if we need two head coaches or one head coach and one assistant?
Yeah, I don't see a problem with that, and that falls under Title IX anyway, so, I mean.
I was just going to bring that up. For the girls' 7th and 8th grade team, the numbers that I have right now, there's 36 8th grade girls and 25 7th grade girls. So questioning is the boys coach for basketball at 7th and 8th grade, the salaries are both even. They're looking at an assistant coach for the girls' basketball for 7th and 8th grade, which they actually need two head coaches. That was put in wrong. It should have been a head coach, not assistant. So we can have Randy look into that. I did talk to Randy this afternoon.
Well, these were submitted by Randy, correct?
I talked to Randy earlier today, and there was a mistake from what I understand.
So can we clarify that before we vote on that?
Well, if you want to table that, or however you
I
want to
think
do
we can
it.
approve it, we can always make an adjustment and pay if
Yeah.
that's the case. But these numbers were submitted by Randy, correct?
In the original emails back and
Yes.
forth, yes, they
Okay.
come from his
Where was the
recommendations.
mistake, Valerie?
Well,
And we haven't received a
Basketball
follow-up email
girls,
saying that was.
basketball girls assistant coach.
Yeah.
right.
So there's,
Should have been head coach, 7th grade, head coach, 8th grade girls,
Down
like the boys.
near the bottom.
So you're saying that
Instead of
Betty
this,
should be a head coach?
correct, for 7th grade. The 8th grade, as the boys play first, and then the 7th grade plays second for both boys and girls. That's how it goes. With the numbers, you need two teams. You follow me? So you're looking to increase from an assistant salary to a head coach salary.
From 2362 to 3868.
Correct, to mirror the
Can I
boys.
make a recommendation here that perhaps we hold off on the two that were in question, so we can get clarification to add them on August?
Okay.
I would recommend that we approve them, so that way if they do want to start with that way the board approved, they can start practices or they can get with the girls.
Yeah, I would
On
do
the
that
funding?
now, too.
And then we can always adjust the pay if
The
that's what the administration's recommending.
We good? We're approving the individuals for those positions. Yeah, and then,
Because if they're not approved, they can't start anything, correct?
correct.
Yeah, there.
And
So
if there needs to be an adjustment in title and pay,
We can do
that will be
August.
done.
and we'd be
I think the
looking,
girls start early too in junior high
What they
school.
do.
Correct.
Like
That's
they
what
start at
we're-
the beginning of the year.
we're looking specifically at the 7th and 8th grade girls basketball teams.
Yes.
Those two.
Questions or comments?
Just
Sure,
one,
Mr. Williams, this is John. I believe in the previous vote, you said that we were voting on 9B. I think we meant to say Roman numeral 11B. Is that true?
Nine.
No, Roman
Nine.
numeral 9, Section B, issuance.
One
Approve the
extra.
issuance of
Yes.
supplemental contracts.
Yes. I believe you're misreading that. It is XI, that's the Roman
No,
numeral
it's
11.
one
XI is the Roman numeral 11. Is that true?
No, on ours, John, it's the opposite.
John,
They rewrote
there's one change, the one you have, number 7 was removed. So if you're looking at yours, number 7 on page 3 was removed prior to the start of the meeting.
Very good. Okay, I'm with you. Thanks.
John, when you don't come to the meetings, we don't necessarily give you all the updated information.
Any other questions or comments?
Yeah, I have one other question.
Go
Back to
Don.
the basketball girls coaching. So if the numbers are as you're suggesting, then we would go to two head coaches.
You are correct, sir.
That's it.
I mean, I just have to say, that's a big improvement from the years past with the number of girls coming out. So we're getting the kids involved.
Yeah, that speaks volumes.
Roll call vote, on.
Mr. O'Donnell?
This is
Yeah.
on all the,
9B.
Right.
9B.
9B only. No on the boys' basketball varsity head coach, yes on everything else.
Mr. Ritter?
Aye.
Mr. Stubenboard?
Aye to all, except I will abstain from anyone that I went to school with. So, swimming and diving coach, wrestling assistant coach and head coach, defensive line, JV defensive coach, director of football operations, and everyone else I vote aye to.
Mrs. Warning?
No to the head varsity basketball coach, yes to everything else, and I just want to say, welcome back alumni, because there's an awful lot that graduated with Chad and with my children, and I'm glad to see the alumni coming back.
Mr. Williams?
Aye.
Mrs. Byrne?
Aye to all but boys varsity head coach. I vote no.
Mrs. Cerucci?
Yes, all.
Mr. Lapsevich?
I have to abstain from the outside linebacker video coordinator, AJ Clemell. He's my first cousin. And yes to everything except no to the head basketball coach. The boys' head basketball coach. No.
And Mr. Nola? Motion carries.
Conferences and conventions. Chris?
Resolved that the Gateway Board of School Directors approves and authorizes as appropriate the following conferences and conventions as listed in Section E at the regular board meeting of Tuesday, June 20th.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Mr. Stubenford, second by Mr. Nola. Questions or comments? Seeing none, roll call vote.
Sorry, one question.
Yes, sir.
The discrepancy in pay, I imagine it's the same as usual. That's based off of transportation or,
There are some carpooling going on,
Yeah.
yes.
thank you.
Any other questions or comments? Bonnie, can we have a roll call, please?
Mr. Ritter? Mr. Ritter?
Aye.
Mr. Stubenboard?
Aye.
Mrs. Warning?
Aye.
Mr. Williams?
Aye.
Mrs. Byrne?
Aye.
Mrs. Cerucci?
Aye.
Mr. Lapsevich?
Aye.
Mr. Nola?
Aye.
Mr. O'Donnell?
Aye.
Motion carries. Section F, administrative resolutions. Mr. Short.
Thank you, Mr. Williams. I'll turn this over to Mr. Schott, who can update us on administrative recommendations.
Thank you, Mr. Short. Item number one, we had discussed that a little bit at the previous meeting back on June 6th. This is in regards to, and this resolution has been expanded and adjusted based on conversations. But again, you see the detail of exactly the projects being proposed for $350,000. But the one major change from previously is to, and I'll read sections of the resolution, is to approve the addition of the following capital repair and improvement projects in the projected amount of $350,000 to be paid from the existing capital reserve fund budget previously approved on December 6, 2016, in the total amount of $3,819,000, and the advertisement of bids for the applicable additional capital repair improvement projects to be completed during the 17-18 fiscal year. Please note, the total of the district's capital reserve fund budget for the 17-18 fiscal year will remain at $3,819,000, with the inclusion of the above additional $350,000 in capital repair improvement projects. The additional capital repair improvement projects listed above will be paid from the savings realized from multiple capital repair and improvement projects, actual bid and quote expenditures coming in less than originally projected and budgeted for in the original $3,819,000 capital reserve fund budget for 17-18 fiscal year. So again, these additional projects will not impact the general fund budget. And again, the original transfer approved that's already incorporated into the general fund budget will be presented here in a couple resolutions.
So moved.
Second.
Aren't we going?
Well, we'll go through the.
You can go through them all.
This thing, I know, If you want to jump around or.
Yeah, I was going to say, item number 2, if, and we have a number of different books here, but I'll defer to Dr. Rossi, maybe to discuss the textbooks.
Okay, we had 3 resources there at Algebra 1, Envision Algebra, ELA 7 and 8, My Perspectives, English Language Arts, and the Digital Citizenship Curriculum.
Item number 3.
Yeah.
Mr. Sharp.
Seeking approval of the Head Start Pre-K Counts Food Service Contract, approved the Pennsylvania Department of Education contract between the Allegheny Intermediate Unit and the Gateway School District to provide meals and snacks to be served at the Head Start program at Evergreen Elementary and the Pre-K Counts program at Mosside Middle School as depicted in Exhibit B.
Questions, comments?
Item number 4, educational field experience agreements. Once again, we have universities requesting an opportunity to have their students participate in an experience typically lasting anywhere from a 2-week to a 9-week experience, Drexel University and Regent University. Also, we have student teachers, Matthew Johnson, as stated earlier, from Seton Hill, for student teacher with Mr. Lassick at the high school. And special education professional services agreements, these are updated yearly. These are contracted services with alternative approved private vendors for our students who require special education services.
Sorry. I'm just wondering, where's Regent University?
That is a very good question. Trish?
I do not know, but we will find out.
We will find out.
Virginia.
So we,
Virginia.
okay, just so we would find out that it's an accredited university.
Everyone has to be accredited, yes.
Yeah, I've never
I
heard.
read that too, and I was like, had no idea where
Okay.
the location was, but we do get a number of cyber schools
Okay.
who offer incentives.
Do we give some deference to local universities?
When they call and make the recommendation, first off, we see what exactly they're looking for, their length of stay for observation hours, and if we can accommodate them. Also, the time of the year is also important, because these aren't necessarily student teaching experiences. These are field service where perhaps in their sophomore year, they need to have 15, 20 hours of observation clinical to see if there's still an interest in pursuing education. It's a little different once they go and see it from a different lens.
Regent is a private Christian university in Virginia Beach.
Google's a wonderful thing, isn't it?
I've seen it before. I know exactly where it's at.
It looks like a nice campus, actually.
It's near where Mike Tomlin grew up. I'm not kidding you.
Are you kidding? Mule doesn't kid.
That's good information.
Any other questions or comments?
Item number 7, we have a special education settlement agreement and release. This is one that we had talked about several months ago involving a special education due process case. Item number 8, technology and learning coaching fellowship program MOU. Dr. Rossi.
We mentioned this last at the study session. It's a Technology and Learning Coach Fellowship Program, and you will be approving the memorandum of understanding for us to participate in this grant.
Mr. Schott.
Thank you,
Item
Mr.
number
Short.
9.
Item number 9, no changes to this resolution previously, but just to note that increases for student lunch and student breakfast prices for 17-18 fiscal year. Specifically, all student lunches being increased by 10 cents and breakfast by 5 cents. And again, this is to ensure the district's compliance with Section 205 of the Healthy Hunger-Free Kids Act of 2010.
Questions, comments? Moving on.
Item number 10, final cafeteria fund budget for 17-18 fiscal year. No changes to this number at $1,942,000, reflecting an increase in expenditures of $57,000 or 3.02% over the current 16-17 fiscal year budget.
Questions, comments? Moving on.
Item number 11, this number did change previously from our study session meeting. Final general fund budget for the 17-18 fiscal year. Adopt the final general fund budget for the 17-18 fiscal year in the amount of $75,749,000, reflecting an increase in expenditures of $4,594,000 or 6.46% greater than the general fund budget for a 16-17 fiscal year. The final general fund budget does not include an increase in the district's real estate tax millage rate. Thus, the real estate tax millage rate will remain at 19.3264 mils for a 17-18 fiscal year. The 19.3264 mils is the equivalent of $1.93264 on each $100 of assessed valuation of taxable real estate property in the district. Again, please note the district will not be required to utilize any fund balance to balance the 17-18 fiscal year general fund budget. The only fund balance projected to be utilized is to fund the capital reserve fund budget through expenditure transfers for the 17-18 fiscal year in the amount of $3,819,000.
And Paul, I know that we've talked about this. Any idea with other districts raising taxes this year, where that would put us in Allegheny County?
In terms of the millage, honestly, I know that IU is conducting a survey of that. We'll probably have that information here in a couple weeks. But again, based on what I've read, we'll probably be drawing back. I think everyone's going to be moving forward from the current rates that are currently out there. I want to say, I think from the list I had, unfortunately, I don't believe I have it in front of me this evening, I think we were 16th for that. But we'll have the final results out once the IU publishes that. But again, they're collecting all the data once all the budgets are approved.
Maybe update the board in on this.
Yeah, most certainly. I'll
One point of clarification, because this looks like the budget increased exponentially. So it shows a 6.46% increase. Of that, let's call it $4.6 million, 3.8 or $3.9 million is going to capital improvements. So it's literally, it's less than a 1.5% increase overall over last year. Is that accurate?
That's accurate.
Okay, so I just want the public to understand it's a very minuscule increase, and from budgeting wisely and this board doing a great job of passing a balanced budget with no tax increases the last several years, we're putting $3.8 million into the buildings, which is greatly needed. So, thank you.
We're actually able to utilize fund balance in a manner it's really intended to be utilized. One of the manners, and that's the fund projects, things that we may not be touching for 30 years, like roofs and things along those lines. So, and again, doing it without having to take on additional loans and incur expenditures from that standpoint as well.
And actually reduced our loan payment by $6 million.
Yes.
Crazy what you can do when you spend wisely.
Yes.
And it's a very good point to bring out, because when the public would see that number, they just assume that spending increase. That actually is a result of the projects from fund balance.
Yep.
Thank you, Chuck.
Any other questions or comments? Number 12?
Item number 12 is the annual homestead farmstead exclusion for 2017. And again, distributing $1,460,130.33 to those 8,160 eligible homestead properties in Monroeville and Pitcairn. Again, this is revenue neutral for the district. It's a totally pass-through. So essentially, with the approval of this resolution, each individual qualified homestead will see a direct reduction of $179.15 on their real estate tax bills, which in terms of assessed value amounts to $9,269.70.
Questions, comments on that?
Yeah.
George?
Thank God for the gaming tax funds. You know, they helped us a lot, you know, even though some people lose, but it's helping the school district. Thank you.
Any other questions or comments? 13.
Next item is the payment of Section B1 list of bills for month of July 2017. Again, in accordance with Board Policy 616. The Section B1 list of bills for month of July 2017. And again, as we do for the month of December, we'll distribute the lists in plenty of time for the board to have the opportunity to review those before we actually mail those out. But again, we don't have a meeting scheduled in the month of July, so we have to utilize this method.
Questions, comments on that? Seeing none?
Next
14.
item is our annual approval for sale, giveaway, and/or disposal as applicable of any old equipment, furniture, and various other miscellaneous items that are no longer serviceable for the district during the upcoming 17-18 fiscal year. And again, administration will inform the board of all proposed items to be disposed of prior to actual disposal taking place.
Questions, comments? Seeing none? 15.
Next item is the renewal of the current Better Unemployment Compensation Comprehensive Program, known as BUCS, for Pennsylvania School, through the Pennsylvania School Boards Association for 17-18. Essentially, what it's offered by Pennsylvania School Boards Association for stop-loss insurance protection. If annual unemployment insurance claims reach the maximum premium of $152,000 $116 during 17-18 fiscal year, and that's depicted in Exhibit G.
Questions, comments? Shot.
Next item is to seek the extension of the current liquid propane gas service agreements through Federal Gas. This would enable us to lock in an additional term length beginning on July 1st, 2018, with an end term date and a final fixed price rate to be determined based on current market conditions. Please note that the district's current liquid propane gas fixed rate of $1.10 per gallon will begin on July 1st, 2017, and run through June 30th, 2018 for Federal Gas. And also, please note that over the last 3 years now, we've been able to also utilize the alternative fuel program that the federal government has been able to extend out each year and actually get a 50 cents per gallon credit back for each gallon of liquid propane gas utilized. So thereby, for next year, assuming that program is renewed again, we would net out the 60 cents a gallon for our fuel for our buses, which compared to diesel fuel is almost unheard of. And then and all the other benefits as well.
Questions, comments? Seeing none?
Next item is the final approval of the Title I, Title II, Part A, and Title III federal funds allocation amounts for 16-17 fiscal year as depicted below.
Questions, comments? Go ahead, Paul.
Next item is the award of bids and quotes, capital reserve fund, capital repair projects for 17-18 fiscal year as depicted in Exhibit H. The only change to this resolution from the last time is that for item number 2 and item number 3, specifically multi-purpose room air conditioning at Evergreen. The contractor name is Century Mechanical LLC. Bid amount of $41,000. And item number 3, multi-purpose room HVAC at University Park, also Century Mechanical LLC, in another bid amount of $59,560. Those are only 2 changes in terms of the items listed there from the previous meeting.
Paul, were those previously not listed or those numbers changed?
Last time we had to be determined, and we had the maximum amount of the highest vendor. So again, these came down. So again, in terms of, and this is depicted in the note, we updated the amounts. Total net savings of $124,560.15. And again, that savings will go towards those additional $350,000 in projects. That's a piece of that amount.
These are something like $9,000 or $10,000 under what we had estimated in the reservation with respect to these 2 items. Bob Brown wanted to be satisfied that the equipment and the installation would meet our specs, and he has since determined that it's fine. Yep.
George?
Yeah, I just got a question for Mr. Brown. I know it's not on this lighting, but how's our outside lighting coming?
Mr. Brown, can you go up to the podium so people at home can hear, please?
Maybe any additional information, Bob, that you may
Yeah,
have.
if you have anything else on
You know what I
everything.
was going to do, if I can interrupt George, I was going to ask him to report on everything
Okay,
during
fine.
my...
Okay, fine, you don't have to do it now.
Direct
Thank you,
response.
thank you.
Good, thank you.
Yeah.
Any other questions or comments?
The next item is the award of quotes for general fund services for 17-18 fiscal year. As depicted below, again, there were no changes to this resolution from the previous study session meeting.
Questions, comments? Seeing none?
The final item is a new item presented this evening. I will read the resolution. Approval to buy out current SCOCA VoIP agreement and to pay a buyout amount, 1 additional month of VoIP service fee, and an equipment retrieval fee to Meta Solutions for 16-17 fiscal year. Approve the district's buyout of the current SCOCA Voice over Internet Protocol, or VoIP, telephone service agreement effective as of July 31st, 2017. The district's payment of $126,038.28 for a buyout amount, a $10,503.19 payment for the month of July 2017 VoIP service fee, and a $1,000 payment for an equipment retrieval fee, for a total of $137,541.47 in total to Meta Solutions during the 16-17 fiscal year for retrieval of the equipment by Meta Solutions prior to August 8, 2017. And some of that equipment is depicted in the note below.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by
Bob,
Mr. Steubenfort.
I got a question.
Second by Mr. Nola. Questions,
I got a
comments?
question for Mr. Schott. To make the public aware, this 100, so they don't think we're throwing money away with that $126,000 for the buyout. Can you explain to them how we're saving money down the road?
Previously, back in March, the board approved the hiring of Advent Communications and utilizing a new telephone system. At that particular point in time, we were looking at a potential $200,000 number out there. But even at that particular time, in making the shift and even having to pay that amount, we were still saving $22,000. But again, how this is basically, we're getting out of an existing contract, we're moving to a new contract, and we're going to have significant savings moving forward with that. And now, throwing this number, this total number of $137,541.47, that's an additional amount as well onto that. So we've saved even more money, thereby even reducing our payback on our break even. I want to say I think it's reduced down now to like 28 months. Previously, I think it was more than 36 months for that. So again, this is a win-win for the district moving forward. This will not affect our 17-18 fiscal year. It will affect it in the manner of our greatly reduced amount. I want to say, I think the amount was about $9,300 a month in savings going to the new vendor for this system as well. Plus, we will own the equipment moving forward, so that'll help us even with the subsequent contract to that, whether it's the new vendor or another vendor. So that'll be a key moving forward. But again, savings.
Thank you, Paul.
You're welcome.
Any other questions or comments?
I have one.
Chad?
The $350,000. So after we just got done praising you, Paul, and talking about having a balanced budget and working within our budget. I like all these, and there's a lot of things that need done. So why it says partial doors and there's certain door numbers on there. We've been replacing the doors slowly over time, which is good. Item number one. The two that I have questions about are the window replacement, the Gateway High School press box for $37,000. I went up to the press box. I believe I counted 4 or 5 windows that were pretty bad. And I'm just wondering, do we need to replace all of them? I understand there's 2 different types of glass there. It'll look a little funny, but that is $37,000. Is there a way we can just replace ones that need replaced?
When you go up to see the windows, yeah, there's some that are worse than others. All of the seals are damaged and broken. So, you know, it's a matter of, as the year goes on, there's even going to be more. So if we replace a third or a half now, we're still going to have to replace the others in the very near future. Because if you look closely at them, you'll see that all the seals are broke. So by doing them all at once, it actually saves us money overall, because we're not paying for the equipment to get us up there and do that 3 times instead of once, and then every year prices are going to keep going up. Okay. So ultimately, we do have to replace them all. Could we just replace the worst ones now? Yes, but it's going to cost us more in the long run to do that.
Okay, very good. The other one I had a question on is 13, the carpet replacement in this building, the first floor. Would it make sense just to do the heavy traffic areas and save on some money? For instance, the hallways obviously would be way more than an office. Would it be possible just to do the heavy?
It's absolutely possible to do that. And mainly that would be the less expensive way to go as far as that goes, because all the furniture is in the offices. You have to move all that furniture, and obviously we would have to pay, you know, to have that done. So yes, you could do that. That is really something that I would leave up to the board to decide. But yes, you can do it, and it would be a guess, but you would probably save $10,000 to $12,000 from the carpet, because the bulk of the square footage is in the offices.
So 60 to 70% reduction in cost, roughly?
Roughly.
Okay. Then I make a motion to amend number 1 for the first floor administration, just to do the hallways and not to do the offices.
The motion, is there a second?
Second.
Here's a second. A motion by Chad Steubenport, second by Mary Beth Cerucci. Questions, comments on the motion? Roll call.
This is just to amend
Just for 60-70% reduction in cost.
of 13.
Basically, it's to just carpet the main areas, the walkways, the hallways.
Wait, can I ask a question first?
Yes.
Transition.
Is it? Okay, who put this in to start off with? Like, why is it on?
Have you seen the hallways out there? It's a tripping
I'm
hazard.
asking what, who put this on here to do the whole first floor is all I'm asking.
That specific item of carpet?
It says carpet replacement, first floor administration. Who decided that?
That was an
And why? That's all I
We have
just wanna know.
complained
If you
about-
give a good reason, I'll say good.
We have complained about this for years.
All right, let me come over.
That's a disgrace.
Okay.
Go, go walk up and down the hallway.
How about that? Okay, the hallways are bad. What about, but he's doing the hallways. What about the offices? I'm just asking. I don't know.
If I
A
can,
number of the offices are fine.
Go ahead.
well, if I
Go
can comment,
ahead, yeah.
I can, and after me, I can take you back to the business office that, there's actually, we have a hole in the floor back there. Plus, there is a section that, I think from the last renovation, that they actually put furniture on top of it, that if you move it back, it's actually cut out. There's actually no carpet there. They actually put a throw rug down.
Is
and
the
they
hole
put
because
on
there's
top.
like a problem with the floor maybe too? I just don't want it to
I
happen to
mean,
the new
it's,
carpet.
I'm not sure, I mean, there's a hole there where people have actually
This
tripped
building.
in the hole in the business office walking.
Okay, fine.
It might be cheaper to replace the carpet instead of have a worker compensation.
So does the carpet cover the hole?
There's a thought.
Tripping hazard.
I mean, this is where the public comes in. This is their first glimpse of us, you know.
I think every seam around is coming up. It's been glued down multiple times.
Interviewers come in here, and we take them back the hallway into the offices. We entertain people in here.
Bonnie, can I just ask Bonnie a question? She deals with this every day in her office. What do you think? I'm asking your opinion. Do you feel? I'm put you.
I think it all should match.
Politically correct answer.
Correct.
Would we save any money since the one area is not carpeted but covered by a piece of furniture? Would we have to go forward and carpet that area as well?
Bob, I think we might,
I'm just want to know. I mean, there might be a little saving.
I would say yes.
Thank you.
any other questions or comments?
Voting on the amendment.
All right.
We are voting on the amendment.
Correct.
Mr. Stubenborg.
Aye.
Mrs. Warning.
The amendment is what, can I ask here?
He
Just
wants to take it from 18,000 to 6.
Just to do
No.
hallways.
No.
Mr. Williams.
No.
Mrs. Byrne.
No.
Mrs. Cerrucci. Mrs. Cerrucci. Yes.
Yes.
Mr. Lapsevich.
No.
Mr. Nola.
No.
Mr. O'Donnell.
No.
Mr. Ritter.
Aye.
Motion fails.
Back to
The overall motion for,
Any other questions or comments?
Thank you, Bonnie.
Any other questions or comments? Okay, can we have a roll call vote? Section F.
Mrs. Warning.
This is for everything.
Yes.
Yes.
Aye.
Mr. Williams.
Aye.
Mrs. Byrne.
Aye.
Mrs. Cerrucci. Mr. Lapsevich.
Aye.
Mr. Nola.
for the whole thing, right, Ed?
Yes.
Yes.
No to number 7. Aye to the rest.
Mr. O'Donnell.
Aye.
Mr. Ritter.
Aye.
Mr. Stubenborg.
Aye to all.
Motion carries. Section G, resolutions presented by board members.
All right. So this is the, let's try not to get stuff 10 minutes before the meeting resolution. Establish a policy concerning the introduction of board resolutions by individual board members. Whereas individual Gateway School Board directors from time to time present and propose resolutions to be considered by the board at a study session or regular meeting. And whereas there is a desire of the Gateway School Board to provide notice and an opportunity to study the proposed resolution in advance by individual directors. Now therefore be it resolved and enacted this 20th day of June 17th as follows. Section 1, no resolution presented by an individual board member can be considered at a study session or a regular board meeting unless the entire board has received it at least 4 days notice of such future presentation, and each board member is provided an actual copy of the resolution to be considered by the board at the next meeting. Section 2, this policy may be excused only when 2/3 of the majority of the school board present shall vote to consider a resolution at its study session or regular meeting without such prior notice. Note, this policy addition revision will be added to the June 22nd Policy Committee meeting agenda for discussion, and it will be presented at the August 1st study session meeting to begin 30-day public display. That is actually incorrect. This is to put it on 30-day display today. That's my motion.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Stubenport, second by Mr. Nola. Questions or comments? Roll call vote, Bonnie.
Mrs. Byrne?
No.
Mrs. Cerucci?
Yes.
Mr. Lapsevich?
This is on this resolution here?
Yes.
No.
Mr. Nola?
Aye.
Mr. O'Donnell?
No.
Mr. Ritter?
Yes.
Mr. Stubenport?
Aye.
Mrs. Warning?
No.
Mr. Williams?
No.
Motion failed.
Any other motions presented by board members? Comments from residents on non-agenda items?
I'm sorry, you moved on too quick.
Go ahead.
I would like to make a motion at this time. We have given several increases this evening. We were given information prior. We talked about individuals with increases, and at this time, I would like to make a motion to give a technology technician an increase, Jesse Smiley, from his current salary. Mrs. Crump, I believe, what, 48? That includes the overtime?
He's at an hourly rate right now,
An hourly.
17.
I would like to make a motion to increase his pay up to $52,500.
I second for sole purpose of discussion.
Motion by Ms. Warning, second by Mr. Stubenport.
All right, a few questions. This document, Assistant Director of Technology. First of all, I believe that would be a bid position. Is that accurate, Mr. Short?
That is correct, yes.
Okay. And this is something we just got an hour ago. Is that correct?
Before, can I
No,
interrupt?
I'm asking Mr. Short, sorry.
That's why
Well, Mr. Short, that's accurate. We got this just.
That is
executive
correct,
session.
but that was not on the agenda.
Okay, so that is why I presented the resolution that we need to get information in advance so that we don't get things 10 minutes beforehand and then vote on it. And then when we insert someone's name to a position that should be bid on, I just think that's wrong. With that being said, I make a motion to table for the fact that administration stated we need more discussion on this matter.
Can I make a comment?
Second.
Sorry.
There's no comment.
On motions to table that are second.
Roll call.
Mrs. Byrne?
No.
Mrs. Cerucci?
Yes.
Mr. Lapsevich?
No.
Mr. Nola?
Aye.
Mr. O'Donnell?
No.
Mr. Ritter?
Yes.
Mr. Stubenport?
Aye.
Mrs. Warning?
No.
Mr. Williams?
No.
Motion fails to table.
Any
Can I-
more discussion?
I believe I'm not asking for a position name. I was just
You did say his name.
I said a name, I didn't say a position that was being moved into. There's not a position. We didn't say a director, assistant director of technology.
So you just want to give one of the three active employees a raise?
Correct. Reason?
I'm sorry.
Now, the question comes into play based on the Act 93 contract that this individual is an hourly.
We would have to change it to a salary position, yes.
was
That would
my
be part of the motion, yes.
Yeah, that's the question I had. So if this motion's adopted, then that position would no longer be eligible for overtime, correct?
Yeah.
Well, no,
Okay.
not
How
only
fast-
that,
How fast until the grievances come in from the other two employees?
Who knows?
Can I state reasons why I'm asking to have this done? We just voted on ordering 700 computers coming in, Apple computers. We have one technician that has been certified to work on Apples. There's no one else to work on the Apple computers. So being said, when these come in and everything needs to be set up, we're giving one person 700 computers to put in progress, keeping going with what he is still doing. That's
Just for clarification, so the public's well aware, we have 4 people in the technology department, correct?
Correct.
So we have 1 director, and then we have 3, we refer to them in shorthand as techies. So we're now going to give one a raise, whether it be this assistant director of technology or not. So we're going to now have one person in charge of one person, and then that second person will be in charge of 2 other individuals. Correct?
From what I understand, the motion here, that individual would remain one of 3 with.
but you have to give them a new position. If you're going to give them a salary, you got to give them a new position.
Correct, we can't have,
I mean, it doesn't have to be called assistant director of technology, but it has to be a new position.
I mean, it just really looks like we're giving bonuses to friends similar to the $250 bonus. And again, if administration has asked that we hold off and we have further discussion since we got this an hour ago, and I know, Steve, you're a big proponent about not voting on things you got an hour ago, I think we should hold off.
Okay.
I'm wondering.
Can I speak?
Hold on, Mary Beth. George, go ahead.
Chad, when you referred to the $250 bonus, that I was one of the ones that voted yes on it with the custodians and the secretaries and the aides. You know the reason why. Well, like you said, I'm giving the bank away. No, I figured the custodians and the aides were worth more than 10 cents or 20 cents an hour and losing a year or 2 that they couldn't have retroactive pay. Also, whoever gets this raise from the technology department, no matter who it is, even an outsider, I really don't care. I feel they deserve it is because you got a tier 1 custodian right now is making $20.30 some an hour, and this gentleman that's in charge of all these Apple computers and everything is making about 10 cents more an hour than he is. I think this gentleman is a lot more qualified than a custodian.
which is fair, but respectfully, the vote for the $250 bonus was made after the vote to approve the contract, which passed 9-0. So if individuals were not happy with the contract, we should have voted down the contract and continued negotiating. And the contract was also approved by the Teamsters Union. So I just want to clarify that. This just, I mean, again, I was hoping I could just, for once, not give a speech about transparency and how dirty these things look. And here we go again, where we get something an hour before the board and we're going to vote on giving someone a friend, named by name. Public, again, has no time to comment on this. It's just, it looks very bad. It doesn't look very bad.
Mr. Williams, may I ask a question, please?
Hold on, John. Mary Beth, you're up.
I'm next.
Go ahead, Mary Beth.
Thank you. Hope you can hear me. I'm sorry. We don't want to have transparency with the peers and with the public. They just don't know how to
Speak up.
just don't want to have police justify the regulations which enforce even though she's saying something about somebody that has to come to the person.
Can this be considered ironic? That's our rating.
You're breaking up, Mary Beth.
Sorry, I'm not.
Yes, they'd be taken.
We talked about this, that we're accepting. And we started that it needs more cost. And then we come down here and it's posted to pass it. So that's the problem.
Can you go off a speakerphone?
Yeah, it's the phone. I was on, did the same thing. Thanks, Mary Beth. Is that all?
Did you come up here, guys? Did you hear me?
Now
Go
we
ahead.
can.
Mary Beth?
Did you hear me?
Yeah. Yes.
Yes, continue.
Thank you. Did you hear what I said? I'm finished.
Bits and pieces of it.
I said that we decided in executive session that this is in one thought. And no right to come out here and try to pass bridge. We've already talked about it in one discussion. Not to mention the fact about how the friendship with this person, it doesn't look right. And whether or not that's the reason, it's so clear that it's the case. And it is wrong. Get that?
Got it.
Yes.
Thank you.
Mr. Ritter?
Surely, okay, so we're going to get some Apple computers in, and this person is certified specialist in Apple computers, going to help set those computers up. Is that true?
This person is an Apple certified technician.
This has nothing
I'd
to
like
do.
to finish my question.
Oh, we thought you were done.
Sure.
Go ahead.
Okay, if they're going to configure these computers, are they going to take a year to do it? Is this salary increase over a year, or is this set up for the year?
I think I can answer that question by asking Bill a question. In 2013, when we did the $3 million purchase, we had purchased more computers at that point in time, correct?
Correct.
Okay, so we have done this previously with current personnel, staffing, with a greater number of computers. But now we need more people, or increased pay for people.
I just think that, I mean, it has nothing to do with the person, or any of this. We discussed this as a new position, and I thought, agreed that we would find out more information about it. I think that's what the administration said to us, that we're going to come back with some more detailed information, and then we'll make a determination. I don't understand why we bring these things up when that was stated how we were going to proceed. Like, it just doesn't make sense to me to rush into something that we just got and we're still working on. Like, we need to be methodical in the way we go about our business, and that is not it. I don't know what else to say.
And I also believe, I think the personnel argument is null and void. I mean, we are getting an intern in that department. Is that accurate?
That is correct.
So we have additional hands, actually more additional hands than we had in 2013 when we had even more computers. So we have more hands, less computers, and our argument is that. Okay. Again, we don't get to this point where you have a balanced budget, a $3.8 million surplus, decreasing the debt service by $6 million by just throwing this stuff out there. I would hope, you voted for Bill to be superintendent, you voted for both of those gentlemen to be assistant superintendent. I hope we can trust them when they say, hey, let's just discuss this more. It's in the budget. We've already voted and passed the budget to include an increase in there. So that's a line item in the budget to increase it, and we simply wanted further discussion. I think it's a real shame to the voting public that we tonight voted down a motion to allow for individuals to have 4 days to simply get this motion 4 days in advance, to have the public be able to view something 4 days in advance. So we vote that down, and then we're going to vote on something we got an hour before the meeting. It's just, it's really a shame, and the people deserve better than that.
All right, so I need an answer to my question, John, and I would like Ms. Warren to answer the technical question that I raised regarding the reception and the configuration of the computers. And if she's not able to answer the question, then I think we should go ahead and table this and then get the answer to these questions. Because if it's the one-time setup fee, then why would you pay someone an annual salary for something that only takes 1, 2, or 3 weeks to do? I don't understand that. And so, because I don't understand that, and I do have a technical background, my question to this board is, why are we rushing into this? Yes, that question for me, please.
He's asking you, why, if this is only gonna take like a month or two to set up all these iPads,
No, I said a week or two.
a week or two,
A week or two.
or whatever it is, I don't know how long it is, why are we paying somebody, increasing a salary for a whole year? Indefinitely, actually, when this, you know, he's saying, why can't we just get some temporary help for those couple of weeks or whatever?
For what I'm going to say is
No.
during the school year, if something breaks down, who takes care of it? You have one individual.
But that's what he does now, is what he's trying to say. I'm saying out, I just heard him.
So I suppose, like, my only question with this motion, well, my biggest concern with this motion would be, I would like to, you know, if we're giving someone that much of a raise, I would like to see some extra goals that he would have as opposed to what he currently has. Just so we're clear then in the future, and especially to try to prevent grievances from other Act 93 employees.
Well, maybe
sounds like
the
we need more
administration can work on that and come back to us, which is what we said we were gonna do.
I'm just talking. I'm allowed to speak my mind, Neil.
16%. I have a question. Val, are you friends with the individual you had named?
I started out work with him.
Are you friends with the individual you named?
No, it's not a yes. I'm sorry, Mr. McIntyre. No, it's a business relationship, if you want to put it that way.
Because shortly after your election, I received text messages for you, which are obviously right to knowable, where you had asked me to meet with the individual. And I said, no, that's not our job. We have individuals in place to meet with individuals. So then to be mentioning him and asking for a 16% increase in pay, when administration has clearly multiple times now asked to reevaluate this. I believe actually on 3 occasions there's a motion to censure me for supposedly hiring friends. I just, again, think this looks very bad and we should reevaluate it.
Amen.
I think we should vote.
What'd you say?
But John, let me also say, I'm not opposed to giving someone a salary increase for greater production, greater skills they bring to the table. But we haven't had the discussion yet, so how can we go ahead and do that when we are not technology experts?
Any other questions or comments? I'll comment. We spoke about this before in the back room here, and it was an administrative recommendation, and mostly everybody knew the name beforehand anyway, and it was already in the budget. And we passed some other things that we learned in the back room this evening too also. And that's why I am in support of it, because it's an administrative recommendation from the get-go. And that's my reason for supporting it, because I have faith in our administration to do the right thing. Mr. Short we hired, along with the 2 assistants, and I feel it's time to support them, and that's why I would support this. That's my own opinion, and that's why I'm supporting it.
Didn't they want to wait?
That was because of what was said in the back room. But I'm saying
Well,
why
no,
I
that's
would
not-
support it. Why
I
I'm
mean,
supporting it is because of that.
But except for I think that I kind of have to disagree with you. I don't like to do that, but I have to, because these other 2 was on the Friday stuff that came out last week, so I actually had time to look at it, and it was on the agenda, so public had time to actually look at it. This one was not. That is the difference. Yes, they were discussed in the back room, but these were on, I know they were on the Friday minutes, I think, that the Director of Pupil Services and the payroll person. That stuff was out there. I don't know when Mrs. Crump sent it, but I remember reading it last week. So that information was available. This information was not available. So I have to disagree with you a little bit.
And I would also go so far as to say the reorganizational chart, that project started back in January, correct?
Correct.
And this position was not on during the creation of that, correct?
During that time, correct.
Okay. And at this very moment, do you believe we need more discussion on this item?
In the back room, we all agreed that we would have more discussion on the item.
Okay. And to our assistant superintendents, would you agree we need more discussion? I know you guys weren't heavily involved with the decision from the get-go.
Yes.
Okay. So we have all central administration saying we need more time.
Mary Beth?
I say
Yes, you're saying administration director needs more discussion.
I say
Mr. Shaw, question. During the budget meeting, was that position on a chart, showing that position for assistant?
On the chart, yes.
That was during budget meetings. Excuse me?
She said who put it there?
Wasn't I?
But in January, when the chart was created, there was no.
But at
The
the budget meeting.
organizational chart did not have that position. When we went into the staffing meeting in March, that position was listed on there.
So this
As
is,
a proposed position,
And not by yourself, obviously, asking for more time to think.
yes.
All right, let's
What'd she say? What'd you say, Mary Beth? Who recommended the position for the chart?
Who recommended the raise, the pay raise?
The pay raise?
Val just made a motion.
Yes.
that's what they said they had a budget for.
Yeah.
Administration, I believe.
Who put it in the budget?
Who put it in the budget?
As far as the salary,
You decide this is how the pay raise.
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear.
Who asked for a pay raise in the budget? Who put a line item budget increase?
The initial conversation about the actual position came from our Director of Technology, Mr. Michael Brown, through internal meetings that we have had. This happened back in October. We used that time to evaluate the department, understanding that Micah has been working on a number of significant projects, including the phones, including the purchase of iPads and technology, visiting other schools. That left 3 individuals within the department. Not that there were any issues with oversight, but truly no oversight because of Micah being pulled away. So that's when Micah approached us, central office, about adding that position. The position was placed into the budget. It was placed on the personnel piece back in March. It was embedded within the budget for discussion purpose only. It was not advertised for. There was no job description that was put out. We simply wanted to have conversations about moving forward with advertising if the board was comfortable with doing so. During our conversations, it was determined that, for everyone's sake, that we needed more time to evaluate this process and moving forward. The budget was voted on. The position was included within the budget. Mrs. Warning made a motion to approve a salary increase for this one employee, and that's where we're at right now.
Any other questions or comments?
I have a question for the solicitor.
Yes, sir.
If this was brought up and it was not listed 4 days in advance, 1 day in advance, an hour in advance, the public should have time to comment on this. Is that accurate? On a motion for an
It's a
increase?
new item, yes.
Comments from the public? You have to come up to the podium.
I don't understand. This is my 1-year anniversary of coming to the school board meetings, and I got quite an education, I'm telling you. We're talking about $4,800, we're talking about $4,500. When you look at this list, you're talking about $33,000 for windows for the press box and $47,000 to redo the gym floor. I mean, and there was 2 months ago, you spent $93,000 for sports equipment. I mean, it's scary. You're looking at 25% of that $350,000 is spent on sports. That's not counting the sports complex stuff that you need done. It's just frustrating as a taxpayer, and I texted my wife to see what I pay a year. Probably pay about $2,400, which is not bad. My house is valued at about $125,000. But I mean, you spend $90,000, you spend $200,000. Like, no, that's okay. It's football, it's basketball, it's sports, and it's frustrating when you talk about the public. Let the public know. Geez, we're like mushrooms. We're in the dark. Thank you.
Anybody else wish to speak?
Give me a minute. I think to just touch on what this gentleman just said, I don't think it's the amount. Sorry?
Can you state your name?
Rick McIntyre, Tilbrook Road. I don't think it's the amount of money that anybody here is objecting to. And yeah, a lot of those numbers that we saw, with the add-ons adding up to the $350,000 are a lot. But every one of those items was available to the public. I've seen them a dozen times over the last 2 months. The public has had a chance to actually see them. The board has had time to discuss them. The administration has had time to get together with the board and decide the best avenue to go. I think the main concern here is that it's not necessarily a bad move, but and maybe I'm hearing it wrong, but this was a position that was created, or at least skeleton position created in the budget. In order to fill that position, wouldn't you then have to put it up for bid?
Advertise.
As per the contract?
Yes.
So I don't see how you guys as a board can just pick a name and put it in there, when this wasn't even made available to anybody. That would be my main objection. It's not the 4,800. These people work hard. I want to see them, make more money, but I think it has to go through the process. So, and I think this is, again, Chad said it 10 times, what he proposed tonight, I really thought it was a slam dunk. I'm ashamed that didn't go through. And from day one until the last day I leave from this board, I'm going to propose the same exact proposal and make that go through. So, thank you.
Any other questions or comments from the audience? Seeing none, we have a roll call vote, Bonnie?
Mrs. Cerrucci. Mary Beth?
What are we voting for?
The salary.
The
Salary
increase on
increase.
salary.
Not a position change, but the salary increase.
Well, no, it has to be a position
Sorry, say that
change.
again, Mary Beth?
It has to be a position change, she just said.
No, I said I was clarifying the motion, was to change it to a salaried position.
The actual position itself would not change.
Correct.
But wait a second. So we're taking the one person in Act 93, we're gonna change them. They still get the overtime, because we're not changing the position, right? Correct?
If the
Give me-
motion was
No, the answer is
classified
yes.
to say, move it to a
Salary.
salaried position,
They come out
it
of
is
Act
no
93.
longer an hourly position.
So if they come out of Act 93, we better have a position for them.
They
So
can
we better
still-
create one.
They
No.
can still be in Act 93 as a salaried position. We do have positions that are.
And when we would need a contract.
No, you can still under Act 93
The
have
Act 93
salaried
has
positions.
one more year remaining on it. This person and the other three, two, are in a Category 3 Act 93 position.
Bruce, do you see any legal ramifications?
No, I think Bill's stating it properly.
So wait, so I'm not sure what we're even giving this person. Like, they're an hourly employee, and we're not increasing their hourly wage, though. We're just giving them some extra money? Is that what we're doing?
We would
No.
create a salary position for
The
this
hourly rate.
individual within Act 93 at the rate proposed.
So we are creating a position.
Will they be a 9-month or 10-month or 12-month?
This person is a 12-month person.
What does that say the same?
That would stay the same. We're just moving from an hourly rate to whatever the proposed rate Mrs. Warning recommended.
And then we're throwing this out? We're not gonna do this
There
position?
would, at this point,
We wouldn't need it, because we already have, be paying somebody more money.
correct.
Are you in the midst of a vote?
Yeah, we're roll call.
Mary Beth will
But she's questioning what we're actually voting on, because we're not
Well, everybody
exactly sure.
wants, so it's clear that it needs more discussion.
Okay. No. Mr. Lapsevich?
I don't know, what are we voting for, table on this, or
No.
what?
Giving the person some new
Vote
numbers.
is to change the
Some new
staff.
raise.
Do an hourly rate to a salary.
Yeah,
Mr. Nola?
No.
Mr. O'Donnell?
Aye.
Mr. Ritter?
No.
Mr. Stubenbort?
No.
Mrs. Warning?
Yes.
Mr. Williams?
Aye.
Mrs. Byrne?
No.
Motion fails.
Okay. Comments from, any other resolutions presented by board members? Comments from residents on non-agenda items. Do we have anybody in the audience wish to speak on non-agenda items? Administrative and board reports. Mr. Short, we'll start with you.
Thank you, Mr. Williams. To the board and the communities, Monroeville and Pitcairn, what we were able to accomplish tonight with a balanced budget with no tax increase and no borrowing from a fund balance speaks volumes for the accountability of this current board and the central office personnel along with our administrators, because this process simply doesn't begin in April and conclude in June. This process starts when Mr. Schott addresses everyone right here in this room, sometimes as early as December or November for the following year. And he always starts off with the same sentence for the last 18 years. This is going to be the worst budget in the history of Pennsylvania. But somehow we're able to work our way through it. And the number of hours that goes into analyzing line item by line item to ensure that there's no duplication. The administrative assistants within the buildings, ensuring that within their buildings, the materials and supplies are there and not just being reordered year after year after year, it is important. So there's a lot of accountability that takes place. And to Mr. Schott, his department, the wonderful workers that we have here. And I'm not going to mention everyone, but they know who they are. It's a process that I think the entire community should be proud of, because I know whenever we go down to the intermediate unit of superintendents and they ask for a roll call of how many districts are raising taxes this year, and there I am not raising my hand, everybody's looking at me like, how is that possible? Because we all know that in Pennsylvania, we're probably 43rd or 44th in our country out of funding for public education for states. Think about that. And to offer what we offer, a curriculum that's truly second to none, and I do know that a number of board members have commented about how deep our offerings are. And to improve upon our facilities with Mr. Brown and Mr. O'Donnell's work and everyone's this year, speaks volume for the amount of time that goes into a balanced budget. These are tough decisions, not easy decisions. But at the end, we're still saving our taxpayers the money and ensuring them a tremendous education. So my hat is off to everyone. We are planning and moving ahead for next school year. Things are underway, and Bob Brown may address us soon. but it simply doesn't stop just whenever graduation occurs. So thank you to everyone.
Thank you, Mr. Short. Mr. Dice, do you have anything to say? Dr. Chaky? Dr. Ross?
Nothing at this time.
Mr. Schott?
Nothing further, thank you.
Ms. Crum?
As we close out the end of the school year, we would just like to thank all of our employees for all of their hard work and dedication to the district, and we look forward to an even better next school year.
Thank you. Mr. Ritter?
Okay, just wanted to say congratulations again to the kids that graduated this year. Well done, students. And I think that's all I have today, guys.
Thank you, John. Ms. Ferrucci?
I have nothing.
Thank you. Ms. Byrne?
I have nothing further, thank you.
You're going to be long?
I'm not going to be long. Bob Brown is going to be. So now he makes his way up to the podium. I just want to mention that survey's been completed. I think we're meeting with Bruce and the team on the 6th of July to go over the middle school, and I believe the work on the title has begun as well. So George and Valerie and I, as you guys know, meet on a fairly regular basis. I talk with Bob Brown on a regular basis. So instead of me going over an update on the $3.8 million that we are managing for the board, I asked Bob to do it. So Bob.
Well, since school has ended, we're in the middle of our roof project, the Evergreen Roof Project. If weather holds, will be complete early in this upcoming week, and we'll be moving over to do the Ramsey Roof Project. All the material for that project will be delivered this Thursday, so we can get started on that no later than the middle of next week. Again, if Mother Nature cooperates. We've also painted all the gas lines at the Ramsey Roof Project to prepare for this, so that's all ready to go. We'll complete that by tomorrow. Our retro commissioning has begun. We've already been through University Park Elementary School, and now we're into Evergreen Elementary School with very few items that need to be addressed yet. So it's been going very well. The exterior lighting, at this point, we are approximately 75% complete. As soon as that is complete, we will submit that for our rebates through the Duquesne Light Watch Choices and the PJM kilowatt incentive program. Evergreen painting will wrap up next week, the exterior of that building. And from there, we're going to move right over to Cleveland Stewart to get that one started. So that should be complete next week. We've began the installation of the playground at Evergreen as well. We started that last Friday, so we're in the midst of that. We've seal coated the student parking lot and relined it. We are now finishing up the sports complex parking lot, which will be finished by the end of the day tomorrow. It's all sealed, just needs line. And that's really where we are with all of our existing projects. The rest of them were just really approved tonight, and the ball will be rolling on those tomorrow.
So just a summary, we're doing well. We're going to hit our time frames. Obviously, we believe pretty strongly we're going to come in under budget because we added $350,000 of cost into the $3.819 million. So we're going to be expanding the number of items which were approved by the board this evening. Bob and his team's been doing a great job, and Valerie and George have been available for the meetings and to go over these issues as they arise. And I appreciate, Bob, your time and effort on this, and I think everybody's going to be pleased at the end of summer. It will be done. It'll come in under budget.
Thank you, Steve. Thank you, Steve. Mr. Lapsevich.
Yeah. I wasn't going to say too much, but I have to congratulate Mr. Schott of his excellent work that he does for us constantly, and he's Mr. Einstein to me. Okay, and if you were just turning your TVs on, watching us. I was the one vote out of 4 that said no to bring back the head boys basketball coach. Thank you.
Mr. Nola.
Yes, just a couple quick things, I believe. The artwork behind me is new, and some of it is fantastic. Grades 2 through 12. And you may be surprised when you look at the grades. They're really nice. So I welcome everybody to come up and look at it before they leave, especially. I want to say thanks to Bob and Steve for, these repairs are going great. I think it's an awesome thing for our district. I just want to talk about our team. Our team is one heck of a team. I mean, we have Mr. Short, relatively new this year in his position for the whole year. Our new assistant superintendents, and then the whole team underneath them with all the other guys that are always here and the ones that you don't see. I think we've assembled a fine team, and I think that's a testament to Mr. Short mostly, and I believe that Gateway's just going to keep getting better and better with the people that we have in place. So I really appreciate everything that all of you guys are doing. It's awesome. So thank you very much. And my last thing, I'm going to be very brief with this, is I hope that the board will reconsider the 4-day review policy that we voted on tonight. I think it's important. And I think that it's something that we should very seriously consider. And I can't, for the life of me, figure out why somebody would not want to be open with the public. I just don't understand where that comes from. But, I mean, I'm just one person, so I can't, I mean, I would have never voted against it. But I just hope that we can reconsider it in the future. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Nola. Mr. Stubenport.
All right, I'll start off with a few good ones and then I'll dive in. First of all, anyone who was at graduation, it was a great ceremony. Mr. Williams gave I thought, outstanding speech to the class. The valedictorian, class president, the valedictorian all did a great job. So hats off to everyone and congrats to all graduates moving forward here. I'd like to wish a happy Father's Day to all fathers out there, belated, especially to my father. Put up with a lot, Joe, so thanks. Learned something new this weekend, so I just decided to share it. I was down in Market Square, and there was a Juneteenth celebration, and I had no idea what the heck the Juneteenth celebration was. So I had to Google it, and I learned that the Emancipation Proclamation, which was set to go into effect January 1st, 1863, didn't actually reach Texas until June 19th, 1865. And that was when the last 250,000 slaves were actually freed. So they have celebrated, started off in Texas and it started moving its way up. And now presidents will give a statement on that day every year. But I didn't know what this parade was all about, learned a little bit about it. So very, very cool. It's Emancipation Day, basically, when truly all slaves were freed. So happy belated Juneteenth, and just figured I'd share that little tidbit with everyone as well. The budget, I gloat about the budget all the time. We've done a great job over the last several years. Paul does amazing. The previous board, this board's done a great job at really trimming the fat. I remember when we first got on here, we started, I think, at that point in time, I believe the paper said there were 20 furloughs, and they all came back. But with those 20 furloughs, people said, you're going to lose programs, academic standards are going to decrease, you guys are going to go down in all the rankings. The complete opposite has happened. We've been able to trim the fat. We've been able to offer all the amazing academic classes that we offer throughout all grade levels. We haven't touched one single educational experience for our students, and we've gone up in the rankings. Our SAT scores have gone up, our school performance profile has gone up, our business times ranking has gone up. So across the board, we've continued to go up. We've gotten U.S. News and World Report medals 2 of the last 3 years. So kudos to all teachers, all staff members, all administrators, all school board members for really being able to sit down. We switched to true zero-based budgeting. Paul was a little angry at first with more work involved there. But we were able to cut a ton of money and cut that money as far outside of the classroom as possible. So hats off to everyone involved that raised that bar and is continuing to push Gateway towards academic excellence while also being cognizant of the taxpayers. That takes me to my next one. I brought forward what I thought was a pretty non-confrontational resolution this evening, which we had discussed at 2 previous meetings. Simply stating, if you're going to bring up a resolution, give all board members 4 days notice. When I first created that, I thought, well, 4 days, that's pretty short. I don't know. Maybe that's giving people a little too much leeway there, but I guess I should have switched it to an hour. So I really hope, I'm going to continue to bring it up. I really hope, for the sake of everyone in attendance tonight, everyone watching, that we're willing to at least give people 4 days notice of voting on something. If it's something that's a dire need that we need to vote on this evening, again, it's built in there. If you have 2/3 of the board, which states say we'd like to move forward with this, you can still do so. We really just need to be more transparent. It's every single meeting now that we're bringing things up last minute, large expenditures. The public has no idea what the heck we're voting on. We have people that don't know, is this policy going to change today? Is that policy going to change today? I started listing people that have individually been targeted, and I started to lose count, whether it be the basketball coach, the director of buildings and grounds, the athletic director, the assistant to the superintendent, and the list goes on and on and on of people that we are just targeting for no reason. And then we're just throwing raises out. And we voted to give a raise literally 10 minutes after we passed the contract. The Teamsters Union had already ratified the contract. The board then ratified the contract, and then we gave a raise. If we did not like that contract, or if they did not like that contract should have been voted down. We voted for it 9-0. I'm not going to continue to go through the air conditioners and everything else that we've just spent without any discussion and without bringing it up to the public. But it needs to stop. It really does. Everyone here has mentioned at some point this year about how great it is to have money, how great it is to have a budget that is sustainable. It's not like we're in the 90s swimming in money here at Gateway, but we have a sustainable budget. We're one of the very few districts that has not raised taxes, is not using our general fund balance, and haven't cut a single program. That's amazing. That comes from hard work. That doesn't come from blindly throwing out motions to spend money that's not budgeted for, and then continuing to just give friends raises. So I really, really hope those that voted against the motion for transparency, that they reconsider. And I urge the public. I think this board really listens when the public reaches out via email, phone calls, text messages. So I urge the public, if you're for transparency, cool, let us know. If not, I'll eat my words, and we'll just keep spending money like we have tons of it. So with that, I wish we don't have a meeting in July, which is probably a good thing. So everyone enjoy the next month, and we'll see you in 2 months.
Thank you, Chad. Valerie?
Yes, let me first start off with special thank you to all our teachers, to our staff, principals, support staff, for making this past year a very good one. We got through another one, looking forward to the next one, but parents, students, enjoy your summer, take the time, regroup, and get back into the swing of things. I came down today to cross over to see a friend out of the district, and I saw up in our new black-topped parking lot in the school section, we had our band out there already practicing. Kudos to those guys. I don't know if you guys realize the time that they put in. Mr. Helchi was so worried about filling shoes. Mr. Helchi, congratulations to you. You have done an awesome job. Mr. Reed, you really taught him well. And Jim, continue your work. We really appreciated everything you're doing. And to you, band members, put a cool towel around your neck. It gets hot. Also, 4th of July is coming up. Monroeville is having a decorated bike and wagon contest. This is through the municipality. We're reaching out to all the students up to 13 years old that they can decorate their bikes. We will have it at the Miracle Mile, July 4th, starting at 9 o'clock. Be there at 8, so your bikes can be voted on, your wagons can be voted on. Very nice prizes, very easy to do, and then you get to ride your bike in the parade. It's great. It's a very good activity. Parents, kids get involved. Mr. Short, it'll be 1 year, July 1st, you're here as superintendent. I want to thank you for everything you've done. Thank you. Your open door policy has been wonderful. People feel comfortable coming in to talk to you. I appreciate it. Thank you. One other thing. I don't know if the public is aware. I'm not sure if we passed, if I should bring this up now, but I had asked for the salaries of our current police department. And I received them, and it was well over $245,000, excuse me. I know we're not fully staffed yet. We budgeted at $300,000. It was our startup and everything. But it came to light, someone had mentioned it to me, and I brought it to administrations, that in their job description, they had a salary increase for every year starting in 2016, 2017. They were starting out, and 2017, 2018, they were getting $1 increase per hour, plus another increase 2018, 2019. I personally don't remember voting on that it was going through, but from what I understand, it is going to take place. So until we've had an awful lot of overtime, like I said, we are not fully staffed, but we're talking about giving individuals $1 an hour increase, which, yes, they're there for our protection. I feel safe, coming into the schools. But there again, is the public aware of that amount of money that's being spent on our, police? They are paid well. It's not like they're not. Part-time positions, they're making very good money. Anybody can chime in if any reactions from the public, but I'm just letting them know that, there are things that happen behind the scenes that not everybody is aware of. So the $245,000 that was spent on the police department this year, that was just salaries. It's not including the uniforms, the belts, everything that was needed, which is added to it. Mr. Schott will give me a final when it's all said and done with all the invoices. But I just wanted to let the public know, that there is $1 increase coming for each individual police officer that we have here in the district. And on a personal note, congratulations to our graduates also. On a personal note, I have to say back in 2001, maybe even further back, well before that, 1990, let's go 1990. I put my kid on a bus, crying my eyes out, oh my gosh, is it ever gonna, does it ever stop hurting? Since then, I've had one child marry. 2 years later, I put another child on the bus. Again, oh my gosh, do I cut the strings? I just want to wish congratulations to my son, Chris, who will be getting married next Thursday. I'm very happy to say with his rounded education that he got and everything he got from Gateway, he's good on his own. But he had that basis here at Gateway that makes a mom feel really proud to say, my kids went to Gateway, just not on a personal basis, but just parents feel comfortable when your kids come here because we do everything we can to protect them, everything we can, and I'll have another daughter-in-law, so lucky me. And with that, that's all I have to say.
Thank you, Bill.
Scott, if I could, first I forgot in my report to say congratulations to the band that participated in the Penguins celebration. They were literally right behind Sidney Crosby and the Stanley Cup, so there's some really cool pictures on our Facebook page and our website if you get a look at those. So congrats to the band, and Phil I saw out there wearing a jacket as well, marching, so he was a little hot as well. So congrats to everyone out there.
Barely made it.
That's all you got.
An eighth of a mile in dress shoes, black shirt, black pants, and it was hot because I knew I had a meeting, and I got back here at 12 noon, and I suffered that whole day. If you remember, we were in a negotiation.
Absolutely.
Not Mr. Shaky was fine.
Those guys
he
were fine.
was like running back and forth. I saw him.
And then the other thing I just wanted to clarify, Val, since you did say we could comment. We came in approximately $60,000 under budget for salaries alone and it's not security for the police, for Gateway School Police. So again, that's $60,000 under budget. So I don't know what wasn't transparent there. And again, we had a lot of discussions about the lease, if anyone from the public remembers. These documents were well vetted and in everyone's hands very, very far in advance, actually way more than 4 days in advance. So I just want to clarify that.
Just to clarify too, we did not have a full staff under 30,000, 300,000 that we set aside for the staff. We have come and gone, maybe 11 at max.
Correct, so some individuals had to work more hours to cover the schools for the kids' safety.
Right, but I'm still saying that that is quite a bit of money, and I personally, as a board member, did not know about the increase for the upcoming years for the police department. With that,
Because that wasn't voted on.
no, it was not voted on.
Well, the increase has not occurred.
No.
So that still has not been voted on publicly.
In August.
Yes, and that was sent out, actually, August 2016. I have the document here if anyone would like me to forward that.
Okay, I'd like to finish up with sending my thoughts and prayers out to the Patsy Pizzuto family. Patsy was an employee here, and it's been a rough year. Some of the gentlemen that were foundation builders here, Coach Anna Marino, Reach Giles, it's been a rough year for Gateway. But on a good note, congratulations to the class of 2017, and hats off, as Chad said, to the administration, faculty, all of our workers here at Gateway, from the top to the bottom, to the bottom to the top. Hats off to the school board. Like Mr. Short's been here a year almost, and I thought we had a pretty good year, if not a great year here at Gateway, and welcome all the new employees. And like everybody said, I think we're in good hands moving forward here, and I look forward to next year, and I hope everybody has a great summer. And with that, I'll look.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
Aye.
Okay, everybody was good except Neil.
Okay.